Hello everyone, my name is Francisco Perez, and today my topic is regarding minimum wage. And my claim is that an increase in minimum wage is bad for the economy and will have a negative effect. My three supporting claims are that a minimum wage increase will cause job losses, and that an increase in minimum wage will cause inflation. My last supporting claim is that there will be more competition for jobs. So, if labor goes up in price, machines will replace workers. And automation has just become more efficient, more cheap. And it is estimated that by the end of this century, 70% of today's occupations will be replaced by automation. Kathleen Madigan, a writer in economics for the Wall Street Journal, who covers US and global economic data, stated that since the recession ended, we have seen an increase in spending on equipment and software by 26%. And less workers will be hired and some will be laid off because, well, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimated that once Obama's proposed $10.10 wage is fully implemented, that we will see a decrease in about 500,000 workers. And to also leave this in perspective, that for each $1 increase in minimum wage, an employer must pay $1.07 to Social Security taxes, and an employer must also pay 1.45% for Medicare tax. My second claim is that an increase in minimum wage will cause inflation, and we will see this through skilled workers such as mechanic and bookkeepers, who will demand higher wages because it doesn't make any sense for someone to go to a trade school for 2 years and earn just $5 or $10 more than someone who just graduated high school. Food will also go up. James Shark, who is a researcher in labor economics for the Heritage Foundation, states that if we raise minimum wage to $15, fast food restaurants will have to raise their prices by 38%, while seeing decrease in profits by 77%, which is not, profits are good because that keeps businesses in business, keeps people hired. If they see that going down, then they're probably going to drop out, and then we'll see a lot of disemployment there. And housing and cost of living will also go up. The economist Christopher Thornburg states that raising wages without building more houses just increases demand without adjusting supply, which leads to higher housing prices. And my last claim is that there will be more competition for jobs. The way we will see this is that idle workers, such as people who are already retired, will compete for these high minimum wage jobs and bump out many of the lower income workers who it was supposed to help. Because if you could choose over someone who's had experience in business over someone who just graduated college, obviously you're going to want a person who can contribute more to your business. And my last claim is that high minimum wage will draw illegals into the country who will work for a lot less. Because businesses already have to pay so much for insurance and benefits to their employees that they're going to have to pay a lot less so that they can keep their profits up. So to go over my supporting claims: 1, a minimum wage increase will cause job loss. 2, an increase in minimum wage will cause inflation. 3, there will be more competition for jobs. And that wraps up my argument.
Well, it starts out pretty solid. The proposition's clear. There's a good, clear preview. We've got a subject there's plenty of controversy on, no doubt about that. I think the signpost on the first supporting point is not very clear. Even though you said it in the opening section with the preview, you kind of just drift into the argument once you get there. That's a little bit problematic. The second and the third points are more clearly signed or signaled, so I think you're okay there. The evidence on the first point is okay. I think you had this one study that mentioned 70% of today's occupations will be automated in the not too distant future. I didn't get a source citation on that. I did get a source citation suggesting that there's additional spending in regard to that kind of technology. That was okay. I think and then you've got one piece of information that talks about the number of jobs that are going to be lost. That's pretty solid. I also think that you've got a good link here on what the potential impact is going to be on Medicare taxes and Social Security taxes. There's not a source citation on this. You do need to explain it, and I think you need to quantify and explain what the impact of that's going to be. Going to your second point, when you're talking about causing inflation, there's a lot of assumption built in here. You primarily have a hypothetical example. You do have one piece of information that provides some good data that talks about what it would cost to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and you've got some statistical information on that. Otherwise, we've got a lot of theory that talks about how wages are going to chase the prices up on housing, and I think that that's not unreasonable. The quote that you had was okay on that, but the notion that it's quantifiable isn't really followed through on. The third point's almost all assumption. You kind of explain what the theory behind that is, and there are like three different explanations that you've got. Each one of them you kind of give us a reason for, but we don't see any evidence to support any of those points. So I think there's a little bit of a breakdown as we get further into the speech. Your argument was more clearly supported with evidence in the first part of the speech. In the second part of the speech, less so, and in fact there's several pieces of information that aren't documented or are simply asserted. I thought you had a pretty good summary at the end, and you probably could use a couple of examples even on that first point. All right, thank you.